This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Lila Carter.
Welcome to the Good Neighbor Podcast. Are you in need of a company to diagnose and treat chronic health problems? One might be closer than you think. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing your good neighbor, Dr. Kevin Smith with Chronic Condition Center. Dr. Kevin, how's it going?
I'm very well. Thank you for having me, Lila.
Thanks for being here. We're excited to learn all about you and your practice. Please tell us about your organization.
Okay, great. So the Chronic Condition Center is in the business of diagnosing and resolving complex chronic health problems, such as low energy, thyroid imbalances, autoimmunity, toxicity, as well as gastrointestinal distress.
Wow, there's so many things that you treat. What an amazing span of interests there. How did you get into this business, Dr. Kevin?
So I'm a functional medicine practitioner, a public speaker, and a published author. In my 25 years of practice, I've worked with people in and out of the Pittsburgh area. And over the last 25 years, I have seen literally thousands of patients. People from all over have asked me common questions. So to help answer them, I'm about 95% of the way through writing my second book on metabolic disorders, such as thyroid problems, GI problems, autoimmunity, low energy, and things like that.
Wow, excellent. So, what are some myths or misconceptions in this industry?
Okay, sure. So the majority of the people that have the types of problems that I treat oftentimes will rely on medications to alleviate their symptoms. The problem is that medicine is not going to cure these issues. It's only going to mask symptoms without addressing the root cause of the problem. And in fact, I can only think of one drug ever created that can actually cure a disease, and that is if you use antibiotic therapy to clear out a bacterial infection. The other drugs are not there to cure anything, they're there to manage symptoms, they're there to chase symptoms. So the end result is that the person will continue to suffer with the problem because the method of treatment is inadequate. The doctors don't ask the right questions, they don't order the right tests, and they will typically never get to the root cause of the problem. My thing is not to chase symptoms with a chemical, like a drug, like a typical MD does. It is to identify the hidden root cause of the problem at hand and then eliminate the problem or imbalance that is ultimately driving the problem. So, for example, when somebody goes to see their primary care physician, when they walk in the door, the typical medical visit will consist of about 7 minutes of face-to-face time. The doctor will invariably order a very, very narrow bandwidth of testing in order to justify prescribing a drug. In other words, they're going to do exactly whatever the insurance company dictates to them. So by the time you walk into the primary care physician's office, your treatment plan has already been predetermined for you, typically by some actuary that sits in a cubicle in another city, like Chicago, for example. So that's called the standard of care. We don't do standard of care; we do exceptional care. So I dig in, I dig very deep to figure out what's the root cause of the problem, what's driving their symptoms, whether it's low energy or their hair falling out, or they can't lose weight even with diet and exercise, or something like that.
Excellent. So, there's so many concerns that you're addressing. And as we understand, marketing is the heart of every business. Who are your target customers and how are you attracting them?
Well, the target customer of mine is typically a female. Females have more thyroid problems than males by a ratio of 8 to 1. And I typically market to them via referrals, patient referrals. I get a lot of physician referrals. I do talks and I write. I love to teach. So I explain things in a way that people can understand it.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about doing your own podcast?
I thought about it, but I don't have the gumption yet.
Well, I'm sure you could muster it up. Outside of work, what do you do for fun?
Well, I'm a pretty decent guitar player and a really awful golfer. And I also like to spend time with my family, including my spoiled, rotten silver lab that I have that demands a lot of my attention.
Oh, very sweet. So, Dr. Kevin, please tell our listeners one thing that they should remember about your practice.
So, a lot of people have told me that I'm very good at distilling down complicated PhD level concepts in a way that the average Joe on the street can easily understand it. I've worked hard at this, and because when I got out of school, I spoke fluent medicalese. And my mom and my wife told me that I needed to learn how to speak to people so that they could get it. They don't have this doctorate education, most of them. So I'm not talking down to people. I'm just explaining things clearly so that Mrs. Jones on the street can easily understand it.
Yeah, that's so important because we can only say so much if someone else doesn't get it and internalize it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, how can our listeners learn more about the Chronic Condition Center?
So if you want to learn more about it, you can visit my website at www.integratedthyroid.com, or you can give me a call at area code 412-595-7332. I'd love to speak to groups. So if you'd like me to speak at your group, give me a call at 412-595-7332. Or if you want to just discuss your problem with me, we can set up a free discovery call. And that's about a 5 to 10 minute conversation on the phone where we can probably talk about what's going on with your health, what struggles that you've been up against, what you've done for it so far, and I'll give you an action plan of what we need to do moving forward. I don't know. There's no one size fits all to this approach. So everybody's individual. Everybody has a unique genetic pattern. They have a unique environmental exposure, and so everybody is treated separately and individually. But typically, it starts with a discovery call, and the way to do that is by just giving me a call.
I love that you said that. And I love that you're making health accessible for people. So,
I try to.
yeah. Well, Dr. Kevin Smith, I really appreciate your time today and having you as a guest on the show. We wish you and your practice the best moving forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnppittsburgh.com. That's gnppittsburgh.com or call 412-561-9956.